Narayana. Hari Om and good morning from Niagara Falls. Throughout Srimad Bhagavad Gita, throughout Mahabharata really, throughout the Ramayana, throughout the Gitas in Ramayana, we read, we hear about how sad Bhagavan Krishna is when such a person is suffering, when this has not happened. And the same goes with Bhagavan Rama. When Raja Dasharatha passes away, when Mother Sita is kidnapped. But we also learn that Bhagavan Krishna literally means joy, as does the word Rama. So how is it that the source of joy is crying? How is it that the source of joy is struggling? Why does this happen? The reason for this sadness, what Bhagavan Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagavan Rama is teaching through so many interactions with different seekers, is what Maya feels like. What Maya feels like. All of us have the same nature as Bhagavan Krishna and Bhagavan Rama, but still we feel stress, anxiety, depression. So Bhagavan is showing what this feels like so we can relate to this more. We also know that Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Rama always come out of that stress, anxiety, depression. They never stay there. They're never stuck. And that is what this Vedanta and Ramayana course is guiding us to see through Maya. If you can't see through Maya, we get stuck in the struggle. But if I can see through this Maya, that what I'm feeling right now is temporary, what I'm feeling right now is not real, that's seeing through this Maya, then I start to feel Krishna and Rama, that Ananda. We keep on exploring how the world is hitting Bhagavan Rama, and occasionally he'll bend his knee down, but then he'll stand up again. In our last class, there was a lovely experience of Ravana being defeated once and for all, with Bhagavan Rama shooting 31 arrows, all 10 heads going in different directions, all 20 arms going in different directions, and that final arrow that hits Ravana in the navel to suck out that boon he has, that immortality he has. And Ravana is defeated. And leading up to this fight was one of the greatest portions of Ramayana, which is Vibhishana Gita. And I introduced this last week. This week I'm going to explain this elaborately, and I'm also going to explain more about the final fight. So we won't study any new chopais. Thoroughness is more important. Bhagavan Rama tells Vibhishana that I don't have a Yuddha Ratha, but I do have a Dharma Ratha. My chariot, which you can't see right now, because you're using your eyes. You're not using your vision. My chariot is made up of the following. There are two wheels to this chariot. The first wheel is known as courage. And the second wheel is determination. Sauraja, Dhiraja. Courage and determination are the wheels of this chariot. Now I'll get some of your help. When you look at a chariot, and we get to see this often in Bhagavad Gita, what else do you see on the chariot? Wheels and horses that will come, and weapons will come, and flags. There's 2 flags. One flag is called a dwaja. That's the elaborate one, the big one. This flag is known as satya, or honesty. And then there's a small flag called a pataka. We think of pataka as a firework. It also means a small flag. There's 2 flags. And the pataka of Bhagwan Rama is Shila. Shila means character. I'm just listing them out right now, but I'll make them more real afterwards. So we look at it from a high perspective, and we'll keep on magnifying. So both flags now, honesty and character. Then you talked about the horses. How many horses are in Bhagwan Rama's Dharma Ratha? 4 horses. The first horse is Bala, or health. Being healthy. And I'm consciously not saying strength, because then we just think physical. Healthy means physical and mental. Then Viveka. Viveka means insight. This is outside, this is insight. When someone has insight, they can adapt better. Viveka. Another is Dhamma. Another horse is Dhamma. We have lots of Viveka Chudamani students, correct? What's Dhamma? Self-control. I like to think of the word as calmness. When the body is calm, it's naturally controlled. Calmness. And the 4th horse is care. The 4th horse is care. It's called parahita. Parahita means to live for para, for others. Someone who's caring, they're not thinking about themselves so much. 2 wheels, 2 flags, 4 horses. So far we have 8. Next, if there's horses, there also has to be reins. How many reins? 3. There has to be reins in between the horses, correct? So imagine 1 rein, 2 rein, 3 rein. So 3 reins. The first rein is kshama with a K. Kshama with a K means forgiveness. The next rein is kripa. Kripa means kindness. It also means compassion. I'm consciously giving you words, which I'll elaborate on. Kindness. The next rein is samata. Samata means being balanced. So balance. Forgiveness, kindness, and balance. Wheels are set. Flags are set. Horses are set. Reins are set. What else do you see in this chariot? The charioteer is also part of this. The charioteer is bhakti. Bhakti. And we had studied in Sri Rama Gita, bhakti is dependence. Dependence on Bhagwan. Dependence on Isha, as is shared in the text. So that's 12 parts of our chariot. Everyone's with me? Okay, next. So this describes Bhagwan Rama's chariot. Ravana also has a chariot. Then Vibhishana says, Ravana has so many weapons. Now Bhagwan Rama begins to describe his weapons. His shield is Vairagya, or Virati, which means independence. Isn't that lovely? Your charioteer is dependence. I depend on my steering wheel, as an example. I should depend on God. My shield is independence because so much is going to come at me. But I have to be independent of that. So the shield. That's to protect, but you also have to be aggressive. So his sword is contentment, santosha, contentment. And there's lots of weapons. It's not just a sword, there's also an axe. A parashu. That parashu is generosity, dana, someone who's large-hearted. How many of you have been to medieval times or medieval times? You know that knight show where they ride on horses and fight with each other? Those people on those horses, they have a shield, right? And what is their weapon? It's a lance. Those long swords are called lances. So they copied Vibhishana Gita and Ramayana. The lance here is reason. Being reasonable. Buddhi. Being reasonable is our sword. And this is so deep. Your reason should start over there. Don't wait for it to come here, correct? Then I become reasonable. I should be proactive. Bhagwan Rama's bow, his bow is vijnana, or understanding. Understanding. Writing down everything in Vibhishana Gita, that's being reasonable. But following Vibhishana Gita would be that vijnana, understanding. And if there's a bow, there has to be a quiver where arrows are stored. That quiver is amala. Amala mana, purity. Purity. And another word that's described is achala. Achala means unmoving. That which is pure is unmoving. That which is impure reacts a lot. Then Bhagwan Rama has arrows in this quiver, and in our description, it's only one arrow that just keeps going everywhere. But here, 3 arrows are listed. The first arrow is quietude. Quietude. If Dhamma is calmness, Shama would be quietude. The second arrow is Yama. It says Jama. Yama means abstinence. Abstinence. The 5 don'ts in life. Don'ts like non-harming, ahimsa, brahmacharya, non-indulgence, etc. Yama. So that's the second arrow. And then naturally the third arrow is niyama. Niyama is not abstinence, but it's observation. The do's in life. There's don'ts and there's do's. You can't just keep telling people, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. They'll feel stuck. So you have to give them do's also. The niyama, these are ideas like shaucha. Shaucha means being tidy. And the last, so those are the arrows, correct? Then Vibhishana says to Bhagwan Rama, you're coming, just with your dhoti on. You have no upper cloth. Ravana has so much of armor. What is your armor? And so this is the last part. Bhagwan's armor is reverence. Reverence for Vipras, reverence for Guru. Those who are wise, reverence for them. Remember we just studied yasha. Yasha doesn't mean fame. It sort of means glory, but the best word is reverence. So how many parts did I go through? There are 20 that are listed. Guruji has shared that there's 18. So he must have combined maybe the wheels or the flags. But individually, there's 20 that are shared here. Some say 21, because that mind, they separate amala and achala. We will go with 20, okay? Courage, determination, honesty, character. Health, insight, calmness, care. Forgiveness, kindness, balance, dependence. Dependence on God. Independence, contentment, generosity, reason. Understanding, purity, quietude, abstinence, and observation and reverence. Now we're oriented towards Vibhishana Gita. Everyone's happy right now? Okay. I'm going to open this up to one more magnification level, and then we'll shift to the fight. Sauraja, or courage, is needed for threats that come from the outside. When you're trying to be responsible, dharmic, society comes at you and says, why be responsible? Sleep in. Why save money today? Spend money today. Why turn the other cheek? If someone hits you, you hit them harder. It requires a lot of courage to stand up to those threats. Then dhiraja is for temptations. Certainly temptations come from the outside, but more temptations come from the inside. I keep remembering past pleasures. I keep planning for future pleasures. I need to have this determination not to give in to this temptation. And if you think of a chariot, if the flags go down, fine. But if one of those wheels is broken, that whole chariot comes to a stop, isn't it? Which is why that's described right in the beginning. You have to keep up against threats and temptations forever. Many of you would have read or heard about the violence in Pittsburgh. And, our coordinators, we've been discussing amongst ourselves that it's very easy not to come to Sunday classes because I look different. We're doing something that's different. I should just stay at home. But then that means we have no sauraja or dhiraja, correct? That threat from society has stopped me from being responsible. I need to study to be able to be happy. The flags that I was describing, the dhwaja, the pataka, in an actual fight, you try to destroy those flags, like an opposing warrior does. For us, it's so important to have a strong character. It's so important to be honest and to have a strong character. Once honesty is gone, everything goes, isn't it? And to have that strong character, especially when you work and live with people. And there's so much corruption, so much negativity, to still have manners, to still have etiquette. Those flags have to stay up. Then, an example of Shila. Some people question, Raja Dasharatha told Bhagwan Rama to become the king of Ayodhya, and then he told him to become the king of the forest, of the jungle. And when Bhagwan Rama went to meet Mother Kaushalya, she was so stunned that her husband, the king, was so elated for him to become the next king, and now he's asking you to be gone for 14 years. And Bhagwan Rama, instead of complaining, instead of being bitter, says, my father has kept up his word of making me the king, isn't it? He did make me the king of the jungle. What a lovely display of character, of that Shila. So he never went against the king's word, against the father's word. We'll talk some about the shield, we'll talk some of the axe, which is generosity. Generosity. What's the opposite of generosity? Miser is good. Also, Greed. Greed. A greedy person is not generous. A generous person is not greedy. In Vedanta, there's a saying, labhasya papa karanam. What does that mean in English? Greed is the cause for sin. When someone is greedy, they think the wrong things, they say the wrong things, they act in the wrong way, and it all started with greed. Which is why we have to use that acts of generosity to make sure that greed is cut down. The padasu. So that's, again, some more ways we can practice Vibhishana Gita. And I'd shared last week when Vibhishana heard all of this, he was crying, saying, not only have you helped me be free of fear now, you've helped me become free of fear forever. Remember when Bhagavan Rama met Vibhishana for the first time, what did he call him as? Lankeshwara. Secretly, Bhagavan Rama has taught Vibhishana how to be a king, how to be a leader. Raja Dharma has been elaborated in this Vibhishana Gita. Ramayana is a subjective text. This is Vedanta. This is also historical. You have to appreciate the history of all of this, that Vibhishana was going to transition into being a king. And don't we do that where the senior leader will train the next leader? They shadow them. So this is all being demonstrated, that we have a history of this. And Bhagavan Rama is sharing with Vibhishana, this fight is happening in our own heart. That's why Yuddha Ratha serves no purpose when there's a fight in your heart. When there's a fight in your heart, only a Dharma Ratha will help. And with that, we happily and sadly complete Vibhishana Gita too. Our Ramayana course is coming to a completion. Our class is coming to a completion. With Ravana being destroyed, we're happy, but we're also sad because he brought a lot of humor into our Sunday mornings and so on. Okay, I want to describe more of the fight between Bhagavan Rama leading to the destruction of Ravana. When Ravana says that today is the last day, today's judgment day, who came to watch this fight? The Devatas. They have nothing better to do but watch this fight. Like us too, isn't it? People love UFC. People love boxing. We love watching this fight. So everyone was watching from the sky, but there was lots watching from the ground too. All of the ghouls, all of the goblins, they came from under the ground to be there too, because they knew there's going to be a lot of food. There's going to be so much of flesh and blood, so they all came. It was a party for them. So party in the sky, party on the ground, as this fight is going on. So this is happening. In Valmikiji's Ramayana, there's one part where Hanumanji and Ravana are fighting. They're hitting each other blow for blow. And they both stop and they share with each other, let's give each other one of our hardest blows. Let's make this more efficient. I'll hit you as hard as I can, then you hit me as hard as you can, and that we'll call it a truce almost. So who hit who first? Naturally, Hanumanji said, you can hit me first. So Ravana, so excited, he hits Hanumanji as hard as he can. And he does bring Hanumanji to his knees. And then what does Ravana do? He runs away. He never let Hanumanji hit him. He literally ran away. So shady, this Ravana. And when Ravana runs away, he goes to that yajna. Remember, he's engaging in this ritual to bring more power. And when all of the monkeys and bears and wolves are watching Ravana, they're saying to each other, he's engaged in baka dhyana. What's a baka? A baka is a crane, isn't it? that crane looks so calm, so quiet, but is actually looking for food. That Ravana is doing the same thing. He's engaged in this ritual when he actually wants power. So he says, they say you're engaged in this baka dhyana, and some lovely poetry for you to appreciate. In life, there's 3 types of people. One type of person is like a rose. Yes? Second type of person is like a mango. And the third type is like a jackfruit. So which do you want to be? The rose, the mango, or the jackfruit? We all want to be roses, correct? But you don't want to be a rose because you already are. So what this means is, some people talk a lot, but they don't follow what they talk about. Roses. The mango flowers and fruits. So it talks a lot and follows what they talk. The jackfruit just fruits. Just walks, but doesn't do any of the talking. So they're giving poetry to Ravana. Hey, you're just a rose. You talk a lot, but you're not doing anything. We're monkeys. We're like the jackfruit. We don't say anything. We just keep on working. So baka dhyana. And the last Ramayana part of this fight that is so lovely. I keep describing Bhagavan Rama's beauty. You know who made him more beautiful? Sri Lakshmana. Every morning before the fight would begin, Sri Lakshmana would collect flowers and put them in Bhagavan Rama's hair. What a beautiful scene to see a loving brother, collecting flowers and tying this into Bhagavan Rama's hair. And why I think this is so important, it shows that they were so strong to engage in what we consider to be more feminine practices. Say having long hair or putting flowers in one's hair. It shows how masculine they were, how secure they were, that they enjoyed nature, that they decorated each other. We should do the same if we have hair. So next week for Deepavali, we'll bring flowers and people can put it in their hair. Some Vedanta, and then we'll have our discussion. Ravana is the icon for avidya. Avidya. And who's younger than Ravana? Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna's the icon for ego. And who's younger than that? Meghanada, who's the icon for desire. Avidya creates what? Ego. In the Yoga Sutras, we would call that asmita. And the ego creates desires. In the Yoga Sutras, avidya creates asmita, asmita creates raga. And the point being here, a lot of preparation is needed to kill Ravana. You have to work on desires, you have to work on ego until finally we can reach that ignorance. A lot of preparation, isn't it? So many people involved, so many weapons involved. Now as Ravana is being attacked, his heads keep coming back, isn't it? For someone who is ignorant, they feel incomplete, so they keep trying to plan for completion through desires. Each of those heads is a desire. And for us, as we complete desires, what happens? More desires come, isn't it? I told you the whole sky was filled with desires, his heads. And another interpretation of this is each of those heads that comes up is our punya, our merits. For some people who engage in rituals, for some people who engage in karma, but they don't know the full reason for that, they start to become dependent on those rituals, isn't it? start to become dependent on that karma. So that we have to be cautious of also. Only when we have meaning in our karma is there karma yoga. Otherwise, karma creates more karma. In regards to desires, in Canada, cannabis is legal now. Now, for someone who's going to explore with cannabis, the first time that they're going to use marijuana, if they've never used marijuana, they're going to be deeply affected by it. And the next time, they're going to need more, correct? And the next time, more. And we're all, we get it physically. You're even thinking, why are you talking about drug usage in Ramayana class? But we do the same thing with cars. We do the same thing with compliments. That intensity, you need more and more and more for that feeling. For someone who's lost in rituals, in more punya, more punya, more punya, they get disoriented. Ravana's heads keep coming and going. He's disoriented. When Ravana's fighting Bhagwan Rama, he's advised, the master of the universe is here. When you commit sin in the presence of someone who is holy, in a holy place, that sin is multiplied. Suppose I'm complaining about you at a coffee shop. That's a sin. But if I complain about you here, in this auspicious place where egolessness should be there, it multiplies. So now Ravana's in the presence of total purity, but he still is disoriented. For us to be more vigilant when we're around our Guru Shishya Parampara, when we're in satsang, when we're in classes, be more vigilant. Sleep more on Saturday nights so that you're awake on Sunday mornings. And the last thought. There's so much of detail that is shared in Vibhishana Gita, in this fight about Bhagwan Rama. Some of us may be feeling, why such detail? Just, Ravana's finished, let them go back to Ayodhya. But is there any love in that? Why even be in this course? You know all of this, isn't it? Read Amar Chitakatha, it's 12 pages. It's the details that bring out that divinity. Brahman, who is Nirguna, comes as Bhagwan, who is Saguna, to train us to rise in love. These details are to be a catalyst for us to love Sri Lakshmana and how he decorates Bhagwan Rama's hair. Hanumanji, that he's ready to get hit by Ravana. All of this detail about the descriptions of Bhagwan, it is to start to love virtues, to start to feel this inside. When I was speaking at Capital One on Friday, one of the points I shared with everyone was why you work pulls your work. And I was trying to reorient everyone there that success is not a promotion. Success is self-development. If you go to work for a promotion, work is going to weaken you. But if you go to work for self-development, work is going to lead to your wellness. Oh.